Good evening, guys. Rusty here, and welcome back to Gear Night here for another Thursday night, and things are exciting. Normally, I have someone sitting over there helping me out, pressing the buttons, but unfortunately, you guys are going to have to deal with me doing all of that tonight because we had a little potential COVID scare yesterday where someone in the family had to go and get checked, and anyway, we changed all the plans, cancelled everything, and then it turned out fine. So we're all good. We're not in Victoria, which is fantastic. But we had to. We canned the help, got rid of the help. So I've got to press buttons as well. So we'll try and get through this. Hope you guys are good. Scotty, good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining in. Tonight is a very exciting episode. We'll talk about that in a moment. But if you're in the chat, say good day. It's great to see people joining and people watching. It's awesome to have. And what else can I tell you about what's going on? Obviously, nothing in Victoria. Nothing's going on. But we are here in SA. If you're in SA, in September 19th, the Still Slam is back, which is normally the state of origin between South Australia and Victoria competition, and so we figured, given the current situation in Victoria, we will leave it as the state of origin, and all the Victorians that are coming to the match can defend their title. Defend their loss. So we think South Australia is probably going to claim it again. But anyway, if you are in SA, 19th of what do we just say? 19th of September at the Monado shooting complex there at Practical Shooting SA, where we're running the Still Slam. And so for everyone else, everywhere else in the country, sorry. The beginner match in end of September, the team match, really exciting, but I think it's sold out. But definitely go on the waiting list given the current situation. No doubt there will be people who can't make it. So starting to see stuff happening, which is great. So, g'day, Danny. Thanks for coming back. Wayne, g'day from Mexico. Yeah, just put your mask back on, Wayne. Stay inside, mate. All right, excellent. Well, my guest this evening is from Victoria. He's just taken his mask off. So we might just put it back on. Can you catch COVID over Zoom? I don't know. Maybe that's why it's spread so fast. Who knows? But... And we're here tonight to talk about some exciting software. G'day, Steve. Thanks for joining us. Called Reloading Studio. Now, a little story before we bring Serge on to run us through and talk some details. I got put onto this ages ago. Serge contacted me years ago through the podcast and said, "Hey, this is check this out." And we had a quick look at it, and I think I'm not sure what happened. Life probably got in the way, and we played with it a little bit, and then it didn't. We all got busy, and you know what life is like. G'day, Craig. Hope you're doing well, mate. And then about a month or two ago, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, I put together an old computer that I had, turned it on, and then on the desktop was a little icon that said Reloading Studio. And I looked at that and I went, I remember that. I wonder what happened with that. I hope things are still going there. Didn't even think anything about it. Literally the next day, I got a message on Facebook, Reloading Studio, saying, "Hey man, I don't know if you remember me, but we connected a while ago. I'd love to chat and see if we can do something." And I thought, well, what are the odds of that? So he was going to give me a full demo and show me how the program works. And I thought, just hold up a second. Let's rather than just show me, because that'd be useless, because I'm terrible at most things. Let's show everyone who's watching. And so Serge has very thankfully come on board to run us through this. So if you want to turf all the paper and turf all the rubbish and have that mess of a reloading bench looking schmick, this is what we're looking at. So Serge, hopefully telecommunications over Victoria aren't sick as well. Mate, are you there?
Yeah, I think it's fine right now.
Oh, good. We do have you.
I am.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. And how's life in Victoria at the moment? Very different to normal, I suspect.
Look, it's past my curfew, so I'm at home now.
Yeah, right.
Until 5 a.m.
Yeah, wow. I just can't imagine that.
It's a comedy.
Yeah, not wrong, mate. Not wrong. Well, I hope you and the family are all well. We as I said, we had a little scare, but we're all good on this one. Just to shout out Lukey, Travi, and Scott. G'day, guys. Hope you guys are all doing very well. Good stuff, mate. Well, I'm glad you were doing well, and thanks for coming on. I know you're a bit nervous about being on here tonight, but you've got this covered. The only person you can see is me, which is it's probably scary enough as it as it is. I'm sorry about that. I should have worn a mask. Oh no, wait, that's what you're meant to be doing. That's right. Anyway, good, mate. So tell us about Reloading Studio. He's got it ready to rock and roll, guys. Tell us about Reloading Studio, how it came about, where the idea came from, and go from there.
Yeah, look, I have an eclectic taste in firearms, and so I started with a 308, and then it kind of snowballed from there. And in Victoria, especially a few years ago, we could just get guns quickly.
Yep.
The collection grew, and Reloading grew, and I just couldn't stand spreadsheets. I couldn't stand taking notes. I thought, there must be a better way. And I'm always happy to buy something, but there was just nothing out there.
Yep.
And I thought, look, I'll just cobble something up, and it kind of snowballed from there. It just grew. So that's it in a nutshell. It's just how do I inventory my stuff, and then how do I actually catalog all my reloads? What if I want to take pictures and put those pictures in there? I think in pictures anyway. So how do I actually things out? So that's how it started, and it's been growing since then. Then I got users all over the world, so a few people started asking me for various features like, can we have suppressors? Can we have this? Can we have that?
Yeah, right.
And that's every time I look at the app, and especially the suppressor section, it's it breaks my heart. So there's a lot of contribution, a lot of collaboration from people in UK, New Zealand, US, South Africa, Sweden. It's very cool.
Yeah, very, very good, mate. And from what I can gather, mate, you do this just purely because you really enjoy guns and you like it, and you had an interest and saw a need for, I guess, scratch your own itch type scenario, and went ahead and put it together.
Yeah, look, I have a full-time job. I work in IT. I live in Melbourne. I had nothing to do with guns in my day job. This was this was a side thing, which it was purely for me. It was for no one else. And then a few people wanted to have a look at it, and kind of went on and on and on. And I've recently just refreshed my website. I had a static web page saying, "Hey, look at it."
Yeah, nice, mate. Nice, Serge. I think we might be just getting a little bit of interference when that's, I don't know if the mic's coming across your shirt or something like that, but just have a little, see if you can do anything about that. Either that, or it could just be the concentration of COVID in Victoria that is actually giving us the static. So I'm not sure.
Thanks, man.
Either could be a challenge. Fantastic, mate. Now, so tonight's a little bit different to a normal show. You're going to screen share the actual program and take us through, I guess, from the start to beginning. So let's go start to beginning. That's not how these things work. Anyway.
We can go start to beginning.
Sure. Well, it's full circle is what we end up as. Full circle. That's what we're talking about. It's Reloading Studio 360. I get it. Now, guys, if you're watching and you see something, or you like a feature, or you want to ask about something, jump into the comment section and ping away. We'll be able to monitor the comments despite being down one tonight, and we'll be able to check that out. Pass that through to Serge as well. But he's going to take you through that there, mate. So have you got something to start us off with?
Yeah, let's get this going.
Yeah.
We
screen shares these days. Look at it. Look at it. All right, we're just going to flick across to a slightly smoother screen. There we go. Excellent. It's a good looking setup so far.
Cool. I was a little bit afraid of if it was going to work or not.
Yeah.
Seems so all right. Well, once you start the app, it's actually going to be blank.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing you're going to see is like a big red button where this gear is.
Yep.
And this is, once you click it, this is where you're going to end up.
Okay.
And effectively, it's, if you're thinking reloading, you've got to think rifle. Excuse me. You're going to think rifles. You're going to think, scopes, suppressors. This is the bit that breaks my heart.
Okay, so
and
this
then projectile cases and so on.
This is like a database of all the things that you may own that are I guess, gun related. So not just a list of your guns, your handguns and such. This is actually sort of everything you've got. Oh yeah.
Yeah, cool. Pretty much. So I've set up just some demo data for us tonight. I hate watching people type, so I thought people were going to hate me. Instead, I just edit stuff, right? So we can add a rifle. We can cruise through them. If you have some pictures, if you have some handwritten notes, or if you want to add some registration certificates, you can always add attachments. And that's effectively it. You also, there's a configuration screen which defines a maintenance log. So this is the bit that's it's in here. If you see an asterisk near the guns, it means they're past maintenance. So if I actually...
Okay, well, we'll come back to that in just a second if we can. So Serge, I just want to ask you the details there, just to put some, because this is also goes out in audio form. So I just want to keep in mind for those who are listening to us. So this screen here under a new rifle, we've got the name of the rifle, we've got the date you could purchase, where you bought it from, how much you paid for. Oh, that's really, I mean, from an insurance point of view, there's heaps of information here that's really useful to document. The brand, the model name, serial number, action type, caliber, barrel length, barrel twist. That's, a lot of people forget their barrel twist, including me, regularly, and so that's very useful to have. Max OAL, that's brilliant. And then I see here you've got things like sighting system and suppressor, and so here it would draw from the other database, say, hey, this scope is on here, and then no doubt you can change your scopes around, your guns around, that sort of stuff there. Now, one thing that might be interesting to note that I know you've mentioned to me is that this is not a cloud-based app, is it? This is... No. So this data that you're putting in here is gonna stay on your machine and not disappear off anywhere. Because I know that if people are talking about registration certificates or serial numbers of guns and all that sort of stuff, they may be mindful that they don't necessarily want that to be elsewhere. Although no doubt if you did that, I'm sure you'd be extremely safe with doing so. But this is all kept on the machine that you have installed it on.
That's right. So the application doesn't actually need network, and it doesn't use it. There's really two instances where when it calls home. Okay. First one is actually to activate itself, and the second one is when it checks for updates.
Yep.
That's it. All it does is it sends this little version number here.
Yes.
And if there's a new version available, it'll just pop up saying, "Hey, you can upgrade." Yep. The actual data doesn't get sent anywhere. And actually, if you purchase the software, I don't even keep that data. I just keep an email address and a country, just because I'm interested where people come from. But that's useful. I don't really keep any data.
Yeah, nice, mate. Nice. Cool. And so then you were mentioning here, sorry, I cut you off there midstream. You talked about maintenance logs. Now, what qualifies maintenance on these?
Look, anything, right? So basically, all it is, I'm going to say, sorry. I can say, I don't know, oil.
Oh, okay. So the screen we're looking at here, guys, is there's a work performed, so you can put in there that I cleaned it, I unscrewed the barrel and went to town on it or whatever it may be, and you're able to do that, and then that's going to give you a really good history of what happened. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. My maintenance log would probably look pretty empty, I suspect, for all my guns. But anyway, okay, good.
Yeah. That was one of the issues. I was like, do I need to oil something? Do I need to? And then one of my rifles, I found a little bit of rust, and I went, and that was it.
Did you actually make that noise?
Sorry?
Did you actually make that noise? Because I'm really hoping you did.
Oh, yeah. It was a squealing noise.
Fantastic. Yeah,
And
nice.
that this feature went in straight away.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's really smart because
Um,
yeah, I mean, you ask most people when they last cleaned their guns, and the I suspect many of the responses are going to be ballparking it. About yeah, sort of probably thenish. Yeah, that's
oh, look, especially if you like when I was allowed to roam free. Um,
like a week. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, I shoot 2-3 times a week, so it's you just put guns in a safe and forget about them and don't clean them, and it becomes an issue. Anyway,
yeah.
like I said,
Fantastic.
it was
Yeah. And
for
so
me to.
if you take us
Mhm.
through to something else on there, maybe sighting systems, what sort of information do you collect on that? Is very much the same data?
Yeah, so I'm going to skip handguns and shotguns because I mean, obviously, it's
Details will
pretty
be
much the
similar.
same.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, sighting systems is kind of similar.
Okay. So yeah,
So
yeah, you take us through some of those options there.
yeah, so I mean, you got maintenance log as well. If I'm actually thinking of removing that because it annoys me, but so everything in the app has a name. So
Yep.
if we go back to rifles, you'll have rifle name. If you go to sighting systems, you'll have sighting system name. It's not a model. It's not a brand. It's something that you call it, and I'm sure we all have that. Like I'll have a 308 that I hunt with,
Hmm.
right? I don't call it Browning crossbolt. I just go 308 for hunting.
Yep.
So likewise for scopes, you can give them names just to make the reference a little bit easier,
Yes.
and you collect roughly the same information. So
Hmm.
date, purchase price, model, brand, um, reticle, minimum, maximum zoom,
Yeah,
objective
that's great.
lens,
Yeah.
pretty much everything you would expect from
Yeah.
um, from a scope. There's a few exceptions, like Skinner sights, obviously the PIP
Oh,
sights.
okay.
It's not a scope,
Yes.
so you can actually say custom and set everything to 0.
Yep.
So it kind of accommodates that as well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's nice.
I'm going to skip suppressors because
Yeah,
they make me
unfortunately,
sad.
we'll just end up crying about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go back to rifles, you'll basically go, okay, cool. I'm going to add a new sighting system. I'm going to add a suppressor, and now you have this um, relationship that you've built
Yes, between the two
between
items.
between everything.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Okay.
Um, yeah. So jumping ahead a little bit,
Hmm.
you have projectiles. Same deal. You can have.
Oh, this
So
is
this one is actually interesting because
yeah.
it's a slug. It's a cast slug as opposed to a
Yes.
purchased projectile.
Yep.
So that's kind of you just add your model number. You can add some images in here, what
Okay.
it actually looks like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's good.
or you can add just normal projectiles. Where did you buy them? What are they? How much? How many? Average weight and so on.
Yeah, and
And
so this is so just from what I'm saying there,
mm,
you can actually go through and do a minimum weight, a maximum weight. Does that then work out the average for you automatically?
yeah, so there's
Yep.
there's two ways you can do this.
Yep.
Personally, um, I just add weight.
Yes. Yeah.
It depends what it is, but I just add weight.
Yep.
Some people might do a sample
Hmm.
out of 100. They might do 10, and they'll fill this in manually.
Yep.
Or I don't know if you can see, there's a little blue square,
I see. There's a little blue square next to average
yeah?
weight where the number is.
And I'm not sure if you can see can you see the pop-up window?
Yeah, certainly can. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what you can do is you can add them one by one. So you can go, and it'll actually calculate everything for you and pre-fill it.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Yeah. Nice.
yeah.
So just
So
to
same thing for length as well.
So what I'm guessing, Serge, is that so if you were of the the mentality that you would get a big batch of projectiles, so you might get 1,000 projectiles or 2,000, you
Mm.
would actually go through and you might weigh them, and you could enter that 1,000 projectiles, but make separate listings for every 200 and to band them in weight, and then that way you can actually keep a record of I've got 200 that let's say it's a 140. So you've
Yeah.
got 200 that came in at 139.9, 270 that my maths are going to be way off, but anyway, you know what I mean. 270 that came in at
Yep.
140.2, and whatever it might be, whatever variation you may see in your projectiles, you could keep a record of all that and how many there are, and that would all sort of be able to sit and live in here. That's really versatile, and then
And
many people
to make it,
won't bother.
sorry.
And then many people won't bother weighing them and just put it up as it is on the box.
Well, it depends, right? Like, I mean, some people who use this are very competitive. I'm being asked to add H2O capacity to cases, stuff like that. So it depends who you are and what you do.
Yeah, fantastic.
So if I get a good feature suggestion, if I don't use it, and it's a good suggestion, and at least a couple of people ask for it,
yep,
it'll probably go in.
It'll make it.
And to further what you said, if you want to batch stuff and you already created this, let's say this 45.
Yep.
What you can do is you can clone. So there's a couple of controls here, so you can actually clone it. And now we have two identical records effectively. Just one doesn't have attachments.
Gotcha.
And that's on purpose because it confuses the hell out of people when you have a full clone with the same pictures.
Yes.
They tend to delete pictures, and it's usually the wrong record.
Yep.
So yeah, you can basically copy stuff and create clones and then batch them in any way you want, really.
Brilliant. Okay, that's good. And so what for example, I see down the bottom. So you've got these different. It sort of talks about current quantity, and I suspect there's going to be a bit of automation and stuff that happens there. But in terms of cases, your next one in the list is cases, and that has okay. So we've got even more information involved in this one from what I'm seeing, and we've again batches and date purchased and where you bought it from and brand and such, and then you've got an option there for times fired, and then the length of it, and what it was fired in. So take us through any of the interesting points on this one here. So I can select which gun it was fired in. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'll go back to projectiles for a second.
Yep, no worries.
And because cases will make a little bit more sense after I do this.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is effectively cataloging stuff, but there's a whole other section of the software which is here. We'll go to it in a second.
Sure.
And that's where you actually setting up, you're assembling a cartridge, you may be recording a performance. I've shot this cartridge, and if that's the case, you'll notice that it actually keeps a tally.
Yes.
Of what's been shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for those listening, we've got a quantity column and then a current quantity. So obviously you bought 500, but you've used 35 of them, and then it'll reduce that, and we'll find out in
15.
due course how we've worked that out. Yeah.
So cases is kind of the same. So you have your batch, which is your, however you want to batch your cases, whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
You have your, case length and weight. You have your variance screen as well, so you can actually add individual weights and lengths.
Yes.
Or you can add it manually. You can say the case has been trimmed. You can say it's been fireformed, so you can actually pick a rifle that it's been fired in.
Yes. And
then there's two fields, which is quantity and quantity actual. And this is actually not automated, and there's a reason for that.
Yep.
The quantity is obviously I bought 20, 50, 100 cases. Quantity actual is what you have now, and it's pretty hard to automate just because cases are not consumable in a sense like bullets or primers. They're in circulation, so it's up to you to keep these numbers aligned to. I bought 500, but I've destroyed 100, so I'm left with 400.
Sure. Yep.
So that's
so I guess
that's what this field means.
But I guess when people you can tell to what degree people have OCD when those numbers don't line up. So if one says 500 and the other says 498, and you can see their face twitching when you show them that, that's clearly they've got a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry. I got to turn the heater on. I'm freezing in here.
No worries, mate. Easy done. Very good. Well, guys, I know tonight's a little bit more of a niche episode, and for the guys who this is interesting to, I suspect are really enjoying it. If you have questions on this, although we're still, I think we're still fairly early on in some of this sort of stuff, but really interesting to see. All right, Serge, you're warming up, mate?
A little bit.
Yeah. Good.
Our central heating broke, so I have a tiny little portable right next to me.
Gotcha. No worries. All right. So take us back. We're through the case.
Yeah. So there's it's pretty much anything you can do to a case. It's in here. Times fired, length, weight, annealing. How many times it was annealed?
Yes.
When was it annealed?
Yep.
Was the neck turned? Was it resized? Was it a full length resize or a collet or a neck dye? I'm sure people can read, but that's this whole heap of options here. The other bit, and if you look at projectiles and cases, they'll all have this question marks in the control panel.
Okay. Yes.
So what it is if I click on it, I'll actually be told which reloaded cartridge right now is consuming this case.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, nice.
So from here, I can straight away go to the actual build screen, which will, which we'll come back to, but
okay.
That's what it is. It's this navigation's basically, am I using it? Where am I using it? Is it loaded right now, or is it in a hub?
Yeah, it's pretty comprehensive. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so back to this stuff. So cases.
Yeah.
Powders and primers. It's very similar, but a lot more scaled back. So there is a counter as well. So I try to keep track of powder.
Yep.
But it's really hard. So it's an estimate. If you're loading, by hand, one by one on a single stage, that's one thing. If you're cranking them out on the Dylan, you might have some spillage, and there's a bit of overhead. So it's pretty hard, but it's a good estimate.
Yeah.
So you can look at it and go, okay, cool. I've bought half a kilo, and I'm left with 450 grams.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and then very very similar for primers. I suspect there's not your purchase price, your quantity, and just details on it, but doesn't need to be extensive details beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
What it is, just model, type, name.
Yep.
So the other bits is factory ammo, and this is just, I don't know, felt like a good idea at the time. If you have a stash of factory ammo, you can actually catalog it in here. That's my OCD. It's like, it'd be cool. I'm already recording everything, so I might as well do this as well.
Fantastic, mate. Yeah.
Keep going. So we'll talk about loaded cartridge screen in a second, but let's assume we have, and let's assume we've loaded some cartridges.
Yep.
And now we have some loaded ammo. So we can actually see it here. So we can have a full list of, I'm just cleaning the tabs up at the top.
Sure.
So it's not confusing to me. So you can basically see what's been loaded.
Yes.
How many of them have been loaded and so on. You can probably guess what I shoot the most.
2 to 3 from that list.
Yeah, kind of. So that's the loaded ammo. Factory ammo, same deal. You can just have it's pretty much the same as factory ammo in here. And add factory ammo.
Yep.
It's just one is a form, the other one is just a convenient list. And sorry, that's not it. That's it.
That one there. Yep.
And you can switch between a couple of views. So there's what I have right now.
Yes.
And if you keep track of them, and if you just archive them when you use them rather than delete them, you can actually get a full, well, I don't have any archived ones, but you can get a full view of what I had and what I have.
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah, fantastic.
And that's just a common view on all maintenance logs. So
okay,
here's what
Yeah, we can see what you've done with each of your guns over any.
No. So this is the
Oh no. Oh, this
no.
is
This is the reminders.
this is a reminder. This
So this
tells you
is
what you haven't done
what.
with each of your guns and what you
That's
should have
right.
done.
You've been a
Yeah.
dirty boy.
Ah,
But if you switch the view, you can actually see what you have done.
mhm. Yeah, nice. Very good.
All right, cool. So this is basically it for cataloging. And then
Excellent.
once this is excuse me, once this is set up, we can actually go into development. So you'll see that there's different tabs for shotguns, handguns, and rifles.
Yep.
I have one friend who shoots shotguns, and this is literally just for him. No one else does it.
Oh no doubt someone else will jump on board, mate. But before we do jump into this one, because this is part two really of the we've set up all the information bits and pieces, and Travi's got a question, but we will come to that. Travi, don't worry, we'll definitely cover that, and I think we're going to cover that in this second part. But before we do that, Serge, we've got to check out what's on the shelf, mate. So if you just want to turn your screen share off for a second, and I have a couple of things to show you guys. So Serge is back, excellent. So we've got all sorts of stuff on the shelf. Look, I got sent these this week. If you can see that, these are Indo Snake, which sounds like an operation. But this, I believe, and I haven't even opened it yet. We were gonna bring this out and use them on the podcast last night, and then of course we didn't have the podcast last night. But this is meant to be a camera that can go up your bore. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this a try. I'll plug it into USB, and there's a Wi-Fi attachment or something like that. So, looking forward to this. But thanks to Endoscope, who sent Endo Snake, who sent this to us. And yeah, we'll give it a crack and see what it's like, and let you guys know, probably on the podcast, and maybe even cover it in an episode here sometime. So that's interesting. I don't know if anyone's got one. If you've got one, let us know. Let us know. What else have we got? Oh, yeah. We'll get to that one in a second. These arrived. These are the short action precision variant of the Weebad mini game, not game changers. These are the other ones, the fortune cookies. So that's a really heavy weight with a rubberized on the inside and heavy duty wax canvas. That's they're pretty cool. Pick them up at Projectile Warehouse or scoped out for those. And I've got to admit to you guys, I think I showed you last week when Danny was on. Couple of basketball cards that we had there. Things have gotten worse. I bought some things, some covers for the real fancy ones. So I've got the Larry Birds and Magic Johnsons and Jordans and bits and pieces, and then things have gotten really bad. So we've just ended up with boxes and boxes and boxes of basketball cards. Somebody send help. It's good. Or send that help, or send money, and I'll send you basketball cards. That's probably the other way to do it. Anyway, all right, fantastic. That's what's on the shelf. Particularly those. They're actually for sale. You can grab those, and they're we ran out of the lightweight ones on day one, so just got the heavy ones left. More coming. Serge, I noticed you didn't have any options in there for listing people's bags that they use, and I assume that's because the database isn't big enough to handle the hundreds and thousands of bags that we as PRS shooters end up with. Something to add in there. I'm not sure people want to know how much they've spent on bags over the years, but anyway, Danny's telling me to open the basketball cards. Maybe.
Look, if it's a shared computer, I wouldn't even add the price.
Oh, excellent. All right, so taking us in now, just I suspect you will answer this one about how this sort of, if it does automate when you make loads and it pulls stuff out. Travi's got a question here about loading 100 rounds with 42 grains of powder. Does it automatically calculate that out of the stockpile, or is that something you fill out manually?
No, it's automated.
It is automated. Yeah, cool. And obviously
Yeah.
that's why you talked about before having the issue, the potential issue for a bit of variation in there and a bit of spillage or something on those lines. But shy of that, it's somewhat automated. Beyond that,
Yeah. I'm not that kind of OCD to keep this accurate number here.
yep.
It is it is it is calculated automatically.
Yeah, perfect, mate. Perfect.
I mean,
Excellent.
there are obviously variances in there,
Yep.
but it's it's enough to go. Oh, okay, I need a new bottle. Or I'm good for the next couple of months.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, perfect. Excellent. All right, so this brings us into this mode here, which is a development mode, I guess.
Yeah. So this is once we've set all this up,
Yeah.
all the rifles and scopes and cases and bullets and whatnot, we're kind of left here. So those blue things are your rifles.
Yes.
Typically, you associate a cartridge to a rifle. If you don't want to do that, if you want to make a generic cartridge, so if you're shooting, I don't know, 357 and it's using a revolver and using a lever action and something else, you can actually create a generic cartridge.
Oh, okay.
Right here.
Cool. Yep.
So it's not it's not really associated to anything.
Yes.
It's just a lot easier to talk about stuff when it is associated.
Yeah, totally.
Just because it's it pre-fills all the information and you kind of know what you're talking about. But yes, you can make, because that's a really common question. Can I just make a cartridge that's not related to a gun?
Yes.
The answer is yes, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. Well thought through. Yeah, okay. Nice. So we've got a Tic Tac 1 sitting there with a long range test as the round. Take us.
I like a thumper.
Oh, all right. 44 thumper. Perfect.
It's so Tikka is you kind of got to start thinking in collection of recipes. So
I see. Yeah, I see.
This here, a long range test is a test. It's a collection of recipes.
Okay.
And then we can start adding various recipes to it.
So this lines into load development extremely well, where you can go out and say, I'm trying to, I'm working on a load for my PRS gun. Oh, we've killed it.
I've just deleted my test data. That's okay. I have more.
plenty of data, and then each individual recipe is allows you for variations within that.
Yeah, and so basically, there's actually a few more features which I can't show here because I'm screen sharing the app, but it opens in a web browser.
Oh, okay.
Because it generates reports, and the easiest way to generate report is just through a HTML page.
Yes. Okay.
But I'll create one just from scratch,
sure.
And I'll say shooting.
That'll be the day for us to actually shooting one day.
So first thing, it will never let me save anything.
Yep.
Unless I define how much charge I use.
Okay. Yep.
And units. And this is to answer the previous question: is it automated? To calculate how much powder I've used? Yes. And this is why you can't save unless you've defined how much powder you used.
Gotcha. Yep.
Otherwise, it gets really, really messy. So just 10, I don't know, grains.
Yep.
Then we can pick. What are we doing? 2 to 3. So we can pick 2 to 3 cases. We can pick. I'm just going to pick random stuff, right?
Yeah,
that's really random.
I've got a shotgun in there. So those who are listening and probably tuned out by now, but the options here at the top of this recipe building is you can choose all your various components. So your case, your primer, your projectile, and your powder. And this obviously draws from this will definitely draw from what you've entered in from your collection. So and then build it around from there.
I'm going to blow my gun up today, so I'm going to use this.
Yes, so don't actually use the provided data. This is not low data recommendations. This is what not to do. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we've defined the various sort of fundamental stuff: how much powder, how much, what cases, primers, rifle, projectiles, and so on. So we've defined the charge weight, and the other two fields. for precision shooting, it's probably not applicable. If you're shooting milsurp and you don't really care if you're shooting a dinner plate or a bigger dinner plate, um,
Yep.
then you're probably going to use a thrower.
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest way here is just to write, I don't know, third notch. And it's just a reminder to know how to readjust your thrower if you want to replicate the recipe.
Sure. Yep.
And what this will do is it'll highlight charge in red just because it's hey, is this still correct?
Gotcha. Yep. If you're doing this adjustment,
yeah,
is this the correct weight? Yep.
Yep. And references, I don't know. This is just a reminder. Where did you actually find this
data?
This
cool.
starting word. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
So next one is overall length. Again, pretty. How big a 223? 50 mil?
About that. Know. Yeah. 50. It's close enough. Let's go with that. 52 or something. Yeah. Oh, for your overall, even more, but it's if we're putting 10 grains of powder in there, they won't be very much at all. Let's put it that way. Okay, cool. And then
let's say we've loaded 10 cartridges here.
Yep.
So I'm going to save this. Here's my save button. Oh, there it is. So there's actually 2 save buttons. I'm used to this one at the top.
Oh, okay. And there is one down the bottom.
Bunch of people complained that they had to scroll. So there's a new one here.
Good.
So that's it. Now we can actually start going into detailed stuff. So assembly.
Yep.
Again, get a pop out, and if you have a variance in overall length, we can actually drill down and add,
individual details.
Maybe make it a little bit more realistic, something like that.
Yep.
And it'll start calculating stuff, and you can define, did I measure off the ogive or did I measure the entire thing?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it for the assembly part.
Okay.
So now we have a cartridge. If we look at projectiles and powder and primers and cases, actually cases not, but the other 3 will reduce by now because it's an assembled cartridge.
So it takes out. So we said we've loaded 10 cartridges, and it will take out 10 projectiles and 10 quantities of powder, and then 10 primers out of our collection.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Sweet. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
There's actually there's a running estimate as well. So if you don't know if you have enough components, but you've been keeping track of stuff, the software will, when you click save, it'll pop up and say, hey, you won't have enough primers to do this. I've just I've disabled the feature for the demo just because it's seriously annoying when you're talking and you don't have enough components coming out.
Yeah,
but it's certainly there.
Real world. Yeah, nice.
So let's continue. I guess you've assembled them now, you've shot them, and you want to start recording actual performance. So you can do, you can define your best group. You can define, what's your best group, Rusty?
One hole. One hole.
One hole.
Yeah, 0.0001 best group.
That's a good group.
It was only one shot. But I'm good with it. Okay, so you can save it in MOA, in mil, in millimeters. Yeah.
Yeah, you can set a distance to target. I don't know, whatever.
Yep.
Right. So again, this is one of those. I just want to quickly get the data in. Drilling down again, we can open an additional information screen and start putting in, the velocities, the standard deviation, what was actually the best group, how many groups did I shoot, what was the average group, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's really good. So this is a brilliant way to be able to, if you're going to use your chronograph, and then you can actually grab all that data from your chronograph, average velocity, SD, ES, et cetera, and even records like distance to the chronograph. And so you can put all that in there and be consistent from range day to range day. Really good to be able to keep all that information in one location. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's actually been requested quite a bit to start doing chronograph imports as well.
Yep. Okay.
I'm not sure how I'm going to go with this. I'll certainly offer something,
Yep.
but I'm not sure I'll be supporting every chronograph model under the sun.
There's only really two chronographs to worry about anyway. There's the Magneto Speed and Elaborator, and that's about it. So do those, and you'll cover 90% of the people who care.
Yeah, well, there's only one chronograph, which is Cadwell, because that's what I own.
No, there's only two. There's only two.
And yeah, and the last field is actually kind of cool. If you don't want to change your scope settings, but you are, or you are changing your settings, or maybe you have like a defined base where you are.
Yep.
This is where you would note how much you need to move for this particular load.
Gotcha. Yep.
And that's you can add images as well. I don't have anything on my screen to drag in, but you can add target photos in here.
Brilliant. Okay. Yep.
And freehand
some notes and bits and pieces on it.
And weather as well, so a bunch of environment factors.
Yeah, cool.
What else? Yeah, so that's kind of a recipe.
Yes.
So we've saved a recipe. The other bit to note is there's a couple of controls on the side, and they're view case snapshot. Printing is a bit hard because I don't know what label makers people have.
Yes.
So all it is just a little HTML page which you can print, cut out, and put in your ammo box.
Yep. And
it tells you what how do you associate a recipe to a tangible physical box.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's excellent.
And view case snapshot is pretty cool. I like it because it's you're using a batch of cases. Cases life is transient. You've just shot it, so it's changed.
Yes.
So this is a copy of your cases at the time of loading. So even if you change the original case batch in your case library, this stuff is not going to change.
Yep.
This is going to stay exactly as is at the time you've loaded the cartridge.
Yeah, nice. That looks good.
And that's if you want to. So that's kind of it at high level. Then, if you mentioned letter testing, so there's a sort of easy way to do that as well. So you can create a recipe.
Yes.
Let's say we're using 10 grains of whatever.
Yep.
I'm just going to delete everything, and then it'll make it a lot easier to see what's going on.
Gotcha. Yep. So we
so we're just deleting some stuff from the screen.
Yep. Tom Glover's asked if you were going to add basketball card inventory functionality into this program as well. To help those.
It's already in there.
It's in there. It's a hidden feature. You've got to ask for the special code, and then it'll track all your basketball cards as well. Yeah. So stay tuned, Tom. Yeah. Tom we'll give that code away at the end of the episode.
I actually found folders of basketball cards at my parents' house recently.
Did you really? Oh, get that stuff.
I did.
Get that up on eBay, mate. You will make a fortune. I don't know if you know. This is why.
Really?
There was a LeBron card that sold the other day. The guy bought it for $40,000 earlier this year. Sold it for $1.8 million. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'll have to have a look.
Go when you're allowed to leave your house again in about 3 years. Go and check it out.
If I can sell it for that much, I can just buy everything. I don't need to leave the house.
You can pay the fines. Yeah, don't worry about
that. Anyway,
good. Go back to the guns thing. Yeah.
Back to so let's say you have a collection and then you want to and a bunch of recipes. You want to duplicate the whole collection. You can actually clone it. So now we have 2.
Ah, fantastic. So that brings all the data across. You could jump in there and change how much powder you put in or change your overall length or something as your variations start getting results on every single one of these. And then that way you're easy to take notes. And
it doesn't bring across some things. So file attachments and weather, for example.
Sure. Yep. But in terms of your what you really need is the information of that particular round. And then you make your variations in there, and then of course when you go out, you're going to have different results for each individual recipe.
So let's say we've set up a recipe over here, and it's, we're using whatever 10 grains of powder.
Yep.
We can actually clone the recipe.
Yes. Yep.
And we'll go. Let's say we'll call it 11.
Yep.
We'll save it and we'll clone it again. We'll call this 12.
Yeah, nice.
Where are we?
And
so we can actually
just on those details. So when you're cloning these ones, you've said that you've made 10 of this particular round. It'll clone that number as well. It'll make 10 of this and 10 of that and 10 of that.
Yep.
Or five in this example. Yeah, it's loading.
No, it'll be 10, 10, 10.
Well, yeah, whatever you've set it up as, it'll continue to be that. Yeah, fantastic.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's a little picture of a letter over here at the top.
Okay. Oh, getting fancy. Yep.
Yeah. So, typically people test powder, but if you want to test something else, so you can actually select the variance is inside the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll say, in this case, it's charge, but it doesn't matter. It could be the overall length. It could be, I'm testing different projectiles, different primers.
Yep.
And if I click View Report, it'll actually open in a web browser, so you won't be able to see it on this screen.
Yep.
But it'll give you a report to print out, and actually, so you don't have to draw the matrix and paint things in red and whatever.
Yeah,
so you can actually put that in the box and associate stuff.
Cool.
Look, that's about it. You can pretty much copy everything. So if you want to start testing something else, you can. So we've actually keep copying this stuff. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's funny how much effort went into it, but how fast you can just go through it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that there may be. What you've covered there. That isn't, it's quick to say, hey, this does that and this does that, but then actually enter the data in and all those sort of processes. You want it to be fairly quick on data entry, which it is, but you've got so much ability to delve down into it, and particularly if you're that way inclined and you like sort of getting into those details, which many reloaders do. It'll be perfectly up the alley of many guys who want to keep track of that. And I know when on the last episode when we mentioned about it, and other guys I've spoken to, they were keen to watch, and I suspect the guys that this is interesting for will be ready to jump on board with you, mate, because it's a solid product. And
this is pretty much a support service for OCD people.
I like it, mate. I like it. It's Danny says it's a very cool and comprehensive program, and I think he's spot on, mate. And there's certainly what I love about it is this has come a long way since we saw it the first time round. From my vague memory of it, and
quite a bit.
You've obviously been very open to adjustments and changes and bits and pieces, and no doubt there is more. You've alluded to me some of the things that you'd love to see develop and what your plans are for the future, and of course we'll let them sit in the future because there's some exciting sort of companions and bits and pieces to go with it. But I think there's a really solid base, and. I don't know if we mentioned what this actually costs, but you talked about this is a one-off fee. This is not like a $2.
$1 million.
Yeah. This is not like a $30 a month every month. This is actually just a one-off, and you're in the system.
Yeah. It's $25 US for the tool.
Yep.
And as long as it's within the version, so at this stage we're at version 1, version 1.2.4, which is actually, there's a couple of hundred variations before that.
Sure.
But as long as we're within version 1, it's all free updates. And usually if people buy, what I found anyways, a lot of guys who buy this tool will run it on 2 computers.
Okay.
One will be in a garage, one will be in the office.
Yep.
You do need an activation key. So what I do is I just give away a free activation key to any customer who needs to synchronize between machines.
Yeah, sure.
That's possible as well through like Google Drive or whatever else.
Fantastic, mate. Was if that's all you've got, if that's what we need
That's all I got.
to see, man, that's awesome. There's so much in there. Drop your screen share off. Let's see your smiling face again, and there we go. Love it. Yeah, that's really cool. And now I think we talked about actually doing some sort of little promo. Now we won't do that now. What we want to do is later this week, guys. If you keep an eye between Reloading Studios page and the Impact Dynamics ones, and we will run some sort of competition or some sort of details, and we might we can give a free pass away. Is that right, Serge?
Yeah, I think a free version would be good.
Yeah. All right. That sounds excellent because we want to get the word out there about it. So, guys, if you are watching on Facebook or Instagram, Reloading Studio, go and find it, and it's tagged in on this post, and go give it a like and give it a share and delve into it and check it out. And hey, look, it's $25. What is that? About $30 $35 or something Australian. That's not a lot to I mean, how many times have we lost pieces? Speaking from my experience, lost pieces of paper and bits and pieces coming back from the range, and this is a really good, easy way to do it. So I'd highly encourage you guys to support something Australian, check it out, and Serge, thank you very much for coming on and showing us all the details of it, mate. That was nice and in depth, and of course, I know that for not everyone will sit there and go, oh, this is not the usual, stupidity these guys share about, which is fine. This was actually a useful episode, which was
I'm pretty stupid.
Which is you and me both, mate. That makes two of us. But I think it was really, really cool to be able to put that in front of you guys and share that video if that was very useful for you, or share the website out, because it'd be good to see this stuff get out there. So thank you very much for your time, mate.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, guys, next week, Aussie from Aussie Reviews is joining me. So we are going to be talking, and then there's not too many guys who've used more equipment than that bloke. So we're going to be talking all sorts of gear. So hit up your questions. That's going to be a huge show. Looking forward to having him on the show. I don't think we've did a podcast many moons ago on a different podcast, external podcast to mine or any of his channels, and I think that's the only other time, apart from a couple of videos we've done here and there. So looking forward to doing that. Looking forward to having Aussie on board and chatting all things the stuff he's experienced, and who knows, Queensland might be in lockdown by then. Never know, mate. Never know. Serge, all the best over in there, Victoria, mate. Take care and keep well. And despite all the jokes, we do hope everyone remains safe and protected over there, because it certainly is challenging times.
Oh, I think it's on the mend now.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I hope. I don't know.
Yeah. We hope so, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys. Thanks to no one else for doing the buttons. Thanks for putting up with me looking over there trying to work out how to press all these things. Guys, take care. We will catch you again soon.